Hi again, everybody. Hi, Robert. This is questions 7 through 10 for your vinyl lottery. Well, your lottery. Um, so I watched your questions with great interest. There's again more tough ones here. I don't know where you came up with these, but man, these are tough questions, Robert. But I will do my best to answer them. I know you said uh, no also rans, no honorable mentions, pardon me, but I'm going to have an honorable mention in one of these categories, sorry. But it's so obvious I just can't omit it. But I won't mention them again. Um, Question number 7. And this was not the hardest one because I've actually already thought of this. So question 7 was, what are your ultimate plans for your music collection, be it videos, posters, vinyl, CDs, whatever, when you eventually pass on? Um, and I don't. Oh dear, hi Marvin. Mm, you're all going to die. I'm going to blow up the Earth because it blocks my view of Venus. I'm going to use my explosive Illudium Q35 space modulator. Die, Earthlings, die! So, it doesn't really matter, does it? I'm sorry. I couldn't resist that. Um, but seriously, what am I going to do with my music collection? Well, what are any of us going to do with it? I'm 60 now. Um, how many good years have I got left collecting music and listening to it and being able to be, cognizant and awake enough to enjoy it? And physically, I mean, it takes up so much damn space. What am I going to do with it? All my friends are roughly my age, give or take a year. They won't want it. They'll be in the same boat that I am, physically or mentally, if we're all still around together at that time. Who knows how long you're going to live, right? 70, 80, 100, who knows? Um, so what I have planned is I am leaving my entire collection to my stepdaughter Leanne, her and her husband John. They've already agreed in principle that right now at least anyway that they will take care of it and disperse it as need be to collectors or museums, or I mean, who knows what people are going to be collecting in 20, 30, 40 years, right? These things might be just done. And 90% of my collection is vinyl, so who 40 years from now, who's going to be playing this format? Who knows, right? Who knows what the future holds? So that's my intention right now. I really don't know what else to do with it. I can't be buried with it. It's obviously too large, and I want to be cremated anyway. Um, yeah, I'm looking at the shelf here, and I got books and tapes and 45s and memorabilia, and where does this all go, right? So that's my answer right now. My lovely stepdaughter. It's That's my best option at this moment, and I would feel comfortable with her doing that. I mean, I'll be dead, really. Who cares? But it's nice to know that it's going to go somewhere, not end up in a landfill or just given away for a few cents a piece. Question number 8, and yeah, I get your frustration with this. I could tell in your voice and your eyes when you were reading this question. What is your definition of a grail? And yeah, the word is overused, and I apologize, Robert. I've used it several times in these videos myself. But what else do you call something that is, you think unobtainable, but you find it? What do you call that, huh? I call it a grail. I'm sorry. Um, my definition of a grail is just that, something that is, excuse me, something that is so hard to find, or so, so rare to come across, that when you see it, no matter what the cost, you want to grab it. That this is what you have to have. This is important to you, and I will give you the example. And I showed this in my Vancouver Vinyl Fair video a couple of days ago or a week ago, whatever it was. Back in 1978, I was 15 years old, grade 10, and in October, the best local touring band in Canada, Trooper, played at the Gardens. It's a small building in the P&E grounds in Vancouver. right next to the Coliseum where the Canucks played hockey. And I was 15. I loved their music. I wanted to go. I was too young to go on my own. I didn't even have a driver's license at just 15, right? So my mom says, if I can get my older brother to take me, I can go. So I washed cars, I did papers, whatever I could do to save the money for this. I bought him the ticket, and he said, yeah, okay, if you could buy the tickets, I'll take you, and we'll go. He ended up paying me back for the ticket eventually anyway, so that's no big deal. That was great of him. I love my older brother. But yeah, I bought the t-shirt for that concert. I saw the posters but didn't know you could take one. And I had the ticket stub. And like I said, one day when I was breaking up with my ex-girlfriend, I went to work and she cleaned out all my collection of memorabilia, t-shirts, hats, you name it. You know the story, Robert. And I lost it. So when I went to this Vancouver Vinyl Fair last weekend, I found, I'm just going to move my webcam, sorry. I found, and you know this, I found that that poster in the corner there, the white one, Trooper, shows the guys in the band. That's actually the cover off their Thick as Thieves album, the one for that tour. That had the hits, Moment That It Takes, Round Round We Go, and of course, Raise a Little Hell, which anybody who's been to a hockey or sports arena in the last 40 years knows that song because they play it all the time. And I loved that album. I loved that tour. It was the first band I saw, first live concert I saw. And to lose that T-shirt and that ticket stub was I was just devastated. I could have killed. So when I found that poster, and I found a fellow who had a ticket stub he was willing to part with, that to me was a grail. It was an important landmark in my life. And if I could find the T-shirt to me is the ultimate grail from that show, that T-shirt. That would be my ultimate grail. Other grails, well, yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of stuff on my Discogs list that I want that are important to me, but that to me is the definition of a grail. It's something that is so unattainable that you probably will never find it. Question 9, and this was the hard one. I think this was the hardest one of the whole 10 questions. Favorite band, artist of all time. When did you realize when they were your favorite? What have you got from them? I mean, and this is where I'm going to have my one honorable mention, Robert. Just one, I promise. The Beatles. I mean, come on, most people are going to pick them, I think. I grew up with them. They were the first records I ever bought for that band, those red and blue double album editions. But, you know what? I picked another band to be my absolute favorite. And Bernard, I'm not going to shock you this time. This is my friend Bernard that I'm talking about. Bernard Jean. Excuse me. At the channel Hitch a Ride. Great guy. Very, very nice guy. Check his channel out. He's got a lot of great content. Biggest Boston fan in the world, bar none. So my favorite band, and he knows what I'm going to say now. And I'm going to show it on the wall. I'm going to go with Queen. Although there are a couple of bands that are really close. The aforementioned Trooper and the Beatles. But I'm going to go with Queen. Simply because, and I've told this story a few times, when I was 12, I got some records from the library. I was just really getting into music. And I got this album from the library that looked interesting and had like a royal crest on the front. I'll show it in a minute. I'll show it now. What the hell? This puppy right here. This is what changed my life through music. This taught me that music could be more than simple 2 and 3 minute love songs. It could be more than just, basic guitar and drums. It could be operatic. It could be theatrical. It could be all sorts of things. And this was the album that broke through for me. It's still my favorite of theirs. I'm not saying it's their best, but it's my favorite. But what do I have from them? Robert asked, what do I have from them? Well, I did have the concert t-shirt from the Jazz Tour, but again, that disappeared in a puff of smoke when the I'm not going there. But I did pick up this at a record store called Red Rum, in a little town in Lower Mainland called Cloverdale, and that big banner there. And it's hard to tell the size of it from here, but that's about 3 feet by 5 feet. I'm going to say I haven't measured, but it's about 3 by 5 feet. Uh, I bought it just before we moved over a year ago. Well, I bought it a year and a half ago, and it sat in a box because I didn't want to put it up on the walls. We just painted and redone for sale, so I couldn't put any holes in the wall. So it sat frustrating me in a box for a long time until I finally got in here and finally had time to unpack my records and all my stuff. And yeah, so I'm really happy to have that. And what else do I have from? Well, again, the T-shirt that I did have. But I have all but 2 albums, I believe. I do not have. Oh, sorry. Gotta pick them all up, and it's a heavy collection. I do not have their last album, Made in Heaven, and I do not have the Flash Gordon soundtrack. Other than that, the collection is complete. So I've got Queen, the first album, and this is a repress. Queen 2, that's a repress. Now we get into the originals. Sheer Heart Attack, that's an original first pressing, well, first Canadian pressing anyway. Of course, The Night at the Opera. This is the one I heard after Day at the Races, and wow, this one just blew me away. The first time I ever heard Bohemian Rhapsody, I thought to myself, "Jeez, what the hell was that?" And I heard it on the radio. I'm like, what the hell was that? That took forever. It was like 6-7 minutes, and wow, it just went on and on. It had a ballad, it had crooning, it had opera. It was just incredible. And again, this band blew my mind 2 albums in a row. When I heard that song on the radio, I ran out with my allowance. I bought this album, came home, played it to death, and oh my God, these 2 albums changed my life listening to music. And they're, of course, my sentimental favorite. And then the awesome News of the World. This, to me, is somewhat of an underrated album. I don't see a lot of people talk about it. This is just a fantastic album. It is just chock full of hits and great music. Most Queen albums are. They have their odd clunker like everybody does. Like this one, Jazz. And this is the original pressing. Original Canadian pressing anyway. And this has the gatefold. Guys in the recording studio. Sorry, I'm still trying to figure out this camera. It's a bit like a mirror. And I will give a very, very brief view of this, because it falls under the NSFW category. It's probably not suitable for YouTube either, but there's the poster of the Naked Bicycle Race. Still in mint condition. I've never put it on the wall. No pinholes in it. And yeah, I've been offered. I've had offers for this album before, but no, I'm not parting with it. This is to use the word, but this would be a grail for me. A first pressing of this album with the poster. I've seen lots of them in the wild, in the record stores and whatever used, but none of them have the poster left in. I think a lot of guys just put that poster on the wall, and Mom's probably tore it down or whatever. But find one used now with a poster in it, that's rare. Queen Live Killers. This is a great live album. Again, very underrated. I see a lot of live albums talked about, but that is a really good one. Next, The Game. When that came out, I was a little unsure of it. Another One Bites the Dust. It took me a little while to get into it. But you know what? This one also had a crazy little thing called Love is the Elvis tribute. Yeah, Rocket is great. Sail Away, Sweet Sister. Save Me is a great song. Play the Game is a great. They're all good songs. And I will say something, just to say I'm not biased, for this band, but go back to the Jazz album. In my opinion, the worst song Queen does opens this album. Mustafa. Oh my God, I can't stand that song. Sorry, guys, but yeah, I really just cannot handle that song. I just don't understand what the hell they're singing about. Some guy named Mustafa. It's boring. It's too long. But other than that, the album is fantastic. And then you get into this piece of stuff. I have it just for the collection. I've played it once and I won't play it again. Sorry. The only good thing on here is, of course, what was it? Under Pressure. Just a bad album. Sorry, Freddie. That was a bad album. I may have these out of order. I'm not sure right now, but The Works. I just picked this up a few months ago. Great album. And Innuendo. My friend Bernard sent me this. It's VCLT. Great album. Really, really enjoyable. Kind of Magic. Not a bad album. It's got a few good songs on it. It's kind of middle of the road, but not a standout, but not a clunker either. And this is Greatest Hits Volume 2. I bought this before I got my copy of The Works because I really, really wanted Hammer to Fall on vinyl, and it's the only way I could get it. This is the new Headbanger mix. This is an EP, 33 1/3, Hammer to Fall both sides. It's got a Headbanger mix on one side and the edited single on the other side. So this is pretty cool. I saw this at a vinyl fair a few years ago and grabbed it. It was like $15, and I'd never seen it before. I really wanted it, so yeah, 1984 promo only. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Robert, you like promo editions. This is really nice, and it's in absolute mint shape. Absolutely mint. And then my last one, we get down to the Bohemian Rhapsody soundtrack, which, if you haven't seen the movie, you've been living in a cave, or you're just not a Queen fan. But this was just a fantastic movie, in my opinion, even though there are a lot of historical inaccuracies, pardon me. A lot of stuff they got wrong and out of sync date-wise. But yeah, just a great album, great soundtrack. I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I could watch it over and over again. You know, if I was, the age-old question, if you're going to build a rock band and you're going to start at the vocalist and work your way backwards on the stage, who are you going to start with? Freddie Mercury's the only one that came to mind. After I thought about it, I thought of, a few honorable mentions, but really, if I had a choice, hands down, Freddie Mercury. My opinion. A lot of people don't like him, but that's my choice. And number 10. Imagine winning the lottery. What would I like? What do I have a wish list? What do I collect? And Robert said to pick 3 or 4 letters and pick artists or things you want out of that. As he mentioned in his video, and thank you for mentioning me, Robert. I appreciate that. I feel like a star or a celebrity. Oh, I'm ready for my close-up now, Mr. DeMille. Robert recognized me. I collect posters, banners, stuff like that. Yeah, I got a crowded wall, but you know what? I got more space down here. I'll find room for something if I win. I would find space for something like that. T-shirts, yeah, I love T-shirts from bands. Posters, banners, yeah, that's all great. What else was there that he mentioned? Videos, yeah, videos. I love videos, especially documentaries on the band or live videos of them, especially newer ones where they're playing a lot more material, a lot more depth of the catalog, and the quite frankly, the quality of the video is a lot better too. And as for music, yeah, Robert mentioned I don't collect CDs. I have a lot of CDs where that was from the 90s and the 2000s when vinyl was out. But as vinyl has been coming back, I've been replacing them and getting rid of CDs. I keep the odd few for the car for road trips. but I don't play CDs anymore, certainly not at home. Um, so my main collecting interest is, as he said, vinyl. And I know that can be a pain for people, but you know what? That's what I want. If you go on to Discogs, if I win, and you want to have a want list from me, you get an idea of what I collect, I will at that time give you my Discogs uh, login. Well, not the login, but I'll give you my Discogs name and send me a request, and I will let you log on to my want list and my collection, so you can see what I've got, what I like, what I need. Robert said to pick a few items out of my want list. For example, I'm a huge AC/DC fan. I would love to have the album Black Ice on vinyl. Um, the rock band Blackfoot, there's a couple of albums I want. Flying High and No Reservations. I still need Dream Evil by Dio. What else? Sad Wings of Destiny, Judas Priest. That's been a hard one for me to find. Why don't I just show this? LA Guns, their first album. There's a British prog group called Magnum. I'm looking for a couple of those. King of Madness and Wings of Heaven. Neil Young Freedom, the album that has Rockin' in the Free World on it. And of course the two Queen albums I mentioned, Flash Gordon, Made in Heaven. Rainbow Down to Earth, I can't find that. There's a couple of REO albums. We're not overly twisted about not having those. Whole bunch of Rush albums. I've loved Rush since I was about 13, 14. Whenever Hemispheres came out, that caught my ear, and yeah, I've been a Rush fan ever since. But I'm still missing a few. I'm missing Clockwork Angels, and this is all vinyl. Counterparts, Roll the Bones, Snakes and Arrows, Test for Echo, Vapor Trail. So many of their later albums I never got on vinyl just because I couldn't find them. And what else? I'll leave it at that. There's a few soundtracks I want. Tesla Mechanical Resonance has been hard to find. There's a few Tragically Hip albums I want, Canadians. And if the time ever comes, and if I ever win, unlikely, but if I ever win, PM me on Facebook, get me through Robert or Bernard, and I'll let you know what I want out of that letter that you have, or what I would appreciate. Let's say what I would appreciate. This is a lottery; it's gifts. It's not a demand, right? So what I would appreciate, what I would find useful. So, Robert, in closing, this has been long enough. It's just over 23 minutes. I think this lottery is a great idea. I really appreciate you going to all the time and effort of doing this. It's a lot of fun. I hope that all your volunteers come on board and do their videos and enter and have some fun with this. You asked some tough questions, my friend. You really did. Some of them real head scratchers I had to think about for quite a long time. But yeah, that's my 10 answers. You were initially going to do 12. If you change your mind and add 2, I'll do the video. No problem. My dog's down here, wants a walk, sorry. Yeah, so that's it. That's my 10 answers. I hope you enjoyed this, Robert. I hope anyone else watching it enjoyed it. I know Bernard and Rod the Happy Hippie have watched some. Thanks, guys. Thanks for giving me a little bit of time, and I really appreciate that. And I wish everybody good luck in this lottery. I hope somebody deserving wins. We're all deserving, right? But I hope somebody wins who really enjoys it and appreciates it, because I watched Bernard and Rod open their packages, and it's a haul. Even if not all 26 or whatever people respond and actually send something, there's always the odd delinquent writing something. But you're still going to get a mighty haul of great stuff. Really fun to unpack and play and listen and explore. So good luck to everybody. Enjoy.